Thank you for staying with us. As the night's National Assembly winds down, the battle for the leadership of the 10th legislature rages on. The choice of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, for the leadership positions is also causing ripples. The Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, says APC nominations for the National Assembly leadership positions does not amount to imposition. Governor Uzodinma asks Tajudeen, Abbas and Benjamin Kalu, nominated by the party for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker position in the House of Representatives, to reach out and persuade aggrieved aspirants to agree with the party's decision. Jide, on the 13th, we are going to have the election, and the president will do his proclamation on the 10th assembly. And I see a keen contest.
Yes.
Here again.
Yes,
from both chambers of the houses.
You see, when you imagine that in the Senate, APC just has 9 more senators than the opposition. You know, we've never been in this kind of situation. And that's why those of us who are saying this election is not as bad as the opposition is painting it, we have our reasons. We've never, since the Obasanjo years, never had this kind of situation whereby the ruling party just has 9 members more than the opposition in the Senate.
So the ruling party will have to negotiate.
You have to, you cannot, they do not have 2/3 majority. In the past, PDP used to have 2/3 majority.
You just claim majority.
Yes. You don't have, what you just have is a simple majority. There are key decisions that require much more than a simple majority for you to achieve your goal. So where you are confronted with that kind of situation, you must talk to the other people and get their buy-in. Otherwise, that goal of yours, you cannot achieve it. And talking about this one too is similar to in fact it's worse in the House of Reps, because the opposition actually has more people in the House of Reps than the APC. So where you are confronted with that kind of situation, you know that you are going to be working not just with your own colleagues to hammer out any critical deal. You must work with the opposition. The opposition has become a lot more important during, at this time, the 10th National Assembly, than at any time in our history. And it's thanks to the conduct of the presidential election. No, the presidential election and the National Assembly were held the same day. If the presidential election is the worst in our history, as they want us to believe, how come opposition elements reaped bountifully from the worst election in our history than at any time in our history? I mean, this is commonsensical. People should ask these questions. It shows that the election was credible to a very large extent for the opposition to win more seats than the ruling party in the House of Reps, and in the Senate for the opposition to just be behind the ruling party by just a few. In fact, they were lucky. Some of those reruns was what helped APC to actually win more seats. It will have been narrower. So this is the thing. Now, I agree with Governor Uzodinma that at this stage, the candidates that the party has picked must work with their colleagues, because the chambers, the House of Reps chambers, on the day of proclamation, it is the lawmakers' show. President Tinubu will not step in there and say, look, this is the person that you must do. No, they have to conduct their show their own way. So they have to talk to their colleagues and get them to buy their ideas.
Barry.
Well, it's their show, like BK said. And the APC, with 59 senators, closely trailed by PDP with 36.
Opposition.
While other opposition parties having the remaining 14. You discover that should the opposition come together, it's going to be 59 against 50. And if you now take a look at the division, so to speak, in APC currently, Yari is still insisting he's in the race. that's 1 minus 59. Izunazo is running, that makes 2. Ojus or Kalu, that's 3. And at least each one of them will have 1 supporter. That will be 6 out of 59. So it's putting the APC in a very, very tight corner. If the leadership of the party and the senators being supported by the party fails to negotiate, discuss, and romance other senators. Because the real thing will happen on the floor of the Senate. Whatever the party has done now is to say, look, we are suggesting these people for you. Work with them. So if Akpabio and Barao has the support of all APC senators and the opposition decide to vote elsewhere, he will be winning with only 9 votes. Now that he has some of them saying no, we don't think this suggestion by the party is good. It's a tough one. So, and we should give it to all the nominees of the party. They are not resting on their horse. They are moving around, and it is good that they've been able to convince some opposition, because when you see Akpabio moving, you will see specifically some SDP senators with him that I have noticed. So he's been able to convince.
The beautiful bride.
So he's been able to convince opposition senators. So he should do more of it till the very last moment. He must not take his nomination by the party as the in thing.
All right, joining us for more discussion on this is a member-elect of the House of Representatives representing Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, Ikenga, Ugochinyere, Ikwegonu. Thank you, Honorable, for joining us. Joining us.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Honorable Ugochinyere. Yes, thank you for joining us. Okay, I think we are trying to establish a connection with Ikenga, Ugochinyere. Julie, so next week is the D-Day. We waited, and the House of Representatives, I think they had their final session today. Yes. Maybe tomorrow the Senate will have their own final session, and the House will be dissolved, and the proclamation will be made next week.
You know why this could turn out to be the most intriguing in our history? This proclamation of the Senate will come first. The election of the Senate will come first. The election in the House of Reps could be impacted by what happens in the Senate. If Yari carries the day, for example, because in politics, let's not rule anything out or rule anything in. We are not members of the Senate, and we've seen turn around suddenly on election day in the National Assembly. If Yari carries the day, and Abbas is his brother from the same Northwest, do you foresee that the House of Reps members will still go and vote for to now have a situation in which both the Senate President and the
Northwest
House of Reps Speaker? So there is no way that if that happens, it will not impact on the contest in the House, or it will just change the complexion of the contest in the House of Reps. So the race remains dicey. And I can see that Akpabio is not resting on his laurels, he's moving, he's working hard. The same thing with Tajudeen Abbas, and Honorable Kalu, Benjamin Kalu. They are really working their socks off. It shows, when you read stories, you see the places that they are going to. They are trying to back the support of the party that they have with their own endeavor, their own hard work, because they know that this is not done and dusted. Whoever says this is done and dusted does not understand politics. No. When we were speaking with our friend Awal the other day, he was saying, look, the senators, they are not thinking about religion. Because someone like, you didn't mention Osita Izunaso when you were, he's still very much in the race. So there are still many APC elements who have refused to step down and support the choice of the party. So maybe before the real contest, they would fast track and ramp up efforts to convince people. But as things stand, there are still many of them in the race. In the House of Reps, there are still no less than 6 of them in the race. And in the Senate, there are still many in the race.
Let's establish connection with Ikenga Gochirere. Thank you for joining with us, staying with us, Honorable. Ikenga Gochirere, are you there? Can you hear me? Let's establish connection with Ikenga Gochirere. Thank you for joining with us, staying with us, Honorable.
Let's ask the question.
Okay. Honorable.
Question.
Okay. What is likely to play out next week when we have the proclamation, after the proclamation, when we have the election? You are a member of the House of Representatives. What are you going to do that day?
What are your expectations?
Okay. The connection is a bit poor, but let me start by I've followed your conversation since today, and I want to also correct you that there is nowhere is also written in the rule book that the election should or is going to hold after the Senate voting. There's an amendment to the rules now and the Constitution. The clerk and the deputy clerk can conduct the proceedings. What that means is that both chambers can start at the same 10 a.m. and then elect their principal officers without any of the chambers waiting for the other one. But it's also important that to avoid the situations you are projecting about Yari, that is why adhering to the zoning formula is also very critical to avoid a situation that there will be exclusion that will affect peace and stability that is needed for governance, because you don't want to have a situation where you're going to have a Muslim president, a Muslim vice president, a Muslim Senate president, a Muslim speaker, a Muslim CJN. I guess that's why most lawmakers elect agree that the zoning formula that is on the table comes with some level of inclusivity, and if you disagree with that, then you must be offering the zones concerned something better, not to worsen the situation. But we may not have a stressful election on June 13, going by the fact that most lawmakers are already tilting towards the candidature of Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. As of yesterday, if you watch the development, the recent development that has started coming in from the state caucus meeting that Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu kick-started yesterday, we had the North Central, and something very beautiful happened yesterday. Out of the 92 lawmakers elect that you have in the Northwest states of Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, and so on and so forth, 74 of them supported and pledged their vote to Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu at Ladi Kwale Hall of Sheraton Hotel. And North Central also at Transcorp Hilton, same yesterday, they met with Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. And out of 51 lawmakers elect that you have in North Central, 32 pledged their vote and their support to Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. So in all, from Northwest and North Central, out of the 143 lawmakers elect that you have, 106 have signed up for Tajudeen Abbas fiscally at that meeting. As I speak to you, that of Northeast is going to commence soon. And that of South-South and Southeast and Southwest, which is a comfortable zone for Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu, will hold tomorrow. In all, by the time we are done by tomorrow, we are looking at 290 lawmakers elect pledging their votes to Tajudeen Abbas. So it's going to be a landslide victory. And this is not coming not because the ruling party selected them, but because both even in the opposition today, all of us, majority of us, has agreed that we need a competent leadership. We need a leadership that is inclusive. We need a leadership that have legislative capacity. Just as you are aware, Tajudeen Abbas sponsored the highest bill so far in the 9th session of the Assembly, with 74 bills that over 21 have been signed into law. And same with Benjamin Kalu, that have over 43 bills that too have been signed into law. So you cannot see such men with high level of legislative competence, humility, and the spirit of inclusiveness, and then you want to go for something else. So the way it's going, by the time we are done by tomorrow, we may be having on Tuesday an election that will be the most beautiful in terms of landslide win that will be close to 300 votes. But we hope that other remaining lawmakers who still have different views will come on board before the end of this week.
You've never worked with Honorable Dr. Tajudeen Abbas. What did you see in him as a member-elect just going to the House of Reps? What do you see in him that makes you to believe that he's the best choice for the job?
Well, it's very clear. First of all, you need to look at the character of the man, Tajudeen Abbas. This is a classroom teacher from 1981 to university lecturer, where he founded the Department of Banking and Finance in New Hibamali Polytechnic, Zaria, and Kaduna State University, before getting elected as a member of the House of Representatives on the platform of CPC. He was the deputy chairman on legislative compliance that worked with the chairman to draft the rules that guides that committee. When he was re-elected again under the platform of APC, he headed the Committee on Solid Minerals. It was Tajudeen Abbas working with the then Minister for Solid Minerals that worked out the mining reforms that we have today. And then when he came back again, that also under APC, he became the House Committee Chairman on Land Transport. And you saw the innovation and the support and the legislative support they gave to the Transport Ministry that helped in the rail revolution that we're having today. And apart from that, this is a man that is very accessible. This is a man that is humble. This is a man that understands the primary responsibility of a legislator. You can see that today, in the 9th Assembly, he has the highest number of bills. For a man to sit down in 1 year and come up with 74 bills, and out of that 74, 21 have been signed into law. And then if you say, why do we want Tajudeen Abbas? We want him because he has the legislative competence. And apart from that, the man that is running with him, Benjamin Kalu, who he enjoys harmonious working relationship with, sponsored 43 bills, and 2 have been signed into law. So the question I will ask, among those that are running for speakership, tell me the person that have 5 or 4 or 10 bills to his name. So if you have a candidate that have 74 bills, you take him good in terms of understanding the business why he's elected as a lawmaker. Then in terms of the importance and the impact of the bills, those bills span from security, economic reform, education, health, and so on and so forth. These are things that have helped to change the living standard of our people. And again, there's some level of inclusiveness in the ticket. Now you have Benjamin Kalu, who is from the Southeast. I'm not saying that deputy speaker is enough, but we are coming from a background where for 8 years, President Muhammad Buhari did not give any presiding position to the Southeast. And now you have the Southeast as deputy speaker and the South as Senate president. There's some level of inclusiveness, and that inclusiveness will help to bring stability. And most members, like you saw at the meeting of the Northwest Caucus, they express high level of support and high level of confidence and belief in Tajudeen Abbas. And he promised lawmakers elect yesterday that one, he will work aggressively towards a stable parliament and an independent parliament that will not sacrifice the responsibility of the legislator on the altar of the executive, while promising for harmonious working relationship between the executive and the legislator. And he also promised that issues of members' welfare and equitable distribution of privileges, It's not going to be something that old members is going to take it all or new members are going to take it all. Everybody, across all board, religion and ethnic divide and political parties will
All right.
be equitably
If you can hear me,
and get their due share.
Honorable Ikenga. Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you. I was going to ask you as you were talking when you mentioned the issue of Southeast and the position of Deputy Speaker. What do you think can still be done by the party, the ruling party now, APC, and members in the House of Rep, and including members elect, to still pacify these people who disagrees with the suggestions of the party? What do you think can still be done between now and the inauguration day?
To be honest with you, if the disagreement is coming outside the Southeast South, I would say with all level of respect to those who are agitating that there's no basis for it. Because, for instance, what we have on the table is a South Senate President and a Southeast Deputy Speaker. Any other thing you can do, unless you're going to give us the speakership or the Senate President in the South. But outside that, to say that you want to go against that zoning formula and then you want the Senate President to come from the North is unfair. So, but what I believe that should be done, which already the President is doing, is the conversation that is going on. All the aggrieved parties have been brought to the table. Yesterday, most of them met. A day before yesterday, they met. And right now, as I'm talking to you, the President is also meeting with the lawmakers elect from the APC. And by tomorrow, he will be meeting with the lawmakers elect from the opposition. So this conversation is aimed at arriving at a stability decision, a consensus decision, give and take. Of course, there will be give and take in terms of getting those people who are involved included in a way that they will have no reason to continue with the agitation that they are carrying. But the agitation, as long as it has to do with swapping this position all back to the North, is baseless. Because how do you want a situation where at the end of the day, even though I'm not playing religious politics, but how do you want to swap the position that at the end of the day, you have a Muslim president, Muslim Senate president, Muslim vice president, Muslim speaker, Muslim CGN. I don't think that will help instability. So that is why I say they should put the nation forward. They should understand that Nigeria belongs to all of us. Every zone must be included. The North Central have been given the position of the Secretary to the government or the Federation. The Northeast have the Vice President. The Southwest have the Presidency. The Northwest have the Speakership. The South have the Senate President. The Southeast is even the one that is going home with something that is not what they had expected, but they have the Deputy Speakership. So any other thing you are doing that will see these zones losing already gained ground will be very, very unfair. And that is why I said there's no basis for this agitation, which is coming more from the Senate side. Okay. From the House of Rep, we are operating from, we are going to operate from, there's no much agitation coming from there, but it's in the Senate. And that's why I said I will appeal to Yari to understand that if you people don't want an Akpabio and then you want the Senate President to go to the North West, on what ground? What about the spirit of accommodation? What about the spirit of oneness and equitable distribution to have everybody on the table? So that's why I feel that agitation, as I have,
all right, Honorable,
to me, is baseless. Yes.
Honorable Ikenga Gochinye Ikagonu, representing Idiato North and South Federal Constituency in Imo State, a member-elect in Imo State, from Imo State. Thank you. I want to thank you for your contribution. Babajide, now we can see we're counting down ahead of next week, and we know that, look, we thought I thought all is well with the 10th Senate. Still, in the last 48 hours shows that it might not be as easy.
There's still a lot to do for them. Everyone at a point, people will say, this one is on my side, this one is on my side.
It is
no one can tell what will happen on election.
The day.
Yes. Because in 2015, we all thought Gbajabiamila would win. Yeah. It was at the last minute that the people settled for Dogara.
We lost with 7 votes or so.
There's a lot to do.
Okay. Barry.
Yeah, well, listening to Honorable Ikenga gave me the impression that all those who are concerned too knows what to do. It will be too bad for the ruling party should we have a repeat of what happened in 2020.
That is not planned. All right, Barry Odufo, Thank you. And Babajide Kolade, thank you as usual, as always. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangouts on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow.